Habarat nagakat motion persya yak grant number 11 naga list of demands for grants nakabentaus na mangtingka arajar arpun rio arajar punyo show menteri sarkar jelau bari pet yakatanat kam boarding electric hagasngi bakhandai ka dorbar mangtingka jong yang dorbar thawan ka jela meglaya ka arpun rio trek rumpang arajar arpun rio uba arden mila basayo moj UMLA na nong kram ulapan pau baka jing slam katanat ban penpoy yaki bellat kata dakisnam nadu baki nong shong snong kitan boarding ka penselang pat ban kham tam hi baduna ka yo ka kat uba ardan ulara ekani ka kat motion banyatai kelum halwar ka rukam trekam katanat ha ka bawla ong bahaba ki nong shong snong ki ba mat jing e ki let yakran pen ban ki mat sa jing sha pen bor ban siu installment wat la kam de ka kam bakla ki nong tan boarding electric.
Now we will take up grant number 11. Shrimed Balingdo, Minister in charge, to move please.
Mr. Chairman, sir, on the recommendation of the Governor, I beg to move that the sum not exceeding 11 crore 22 lakhs, 1,122 crores, 86 lakhs 97,000, including the sum already voted on account for the relevant services, be granted to the Minister in charge to defray certain charges which will come in the course of payment during the year ending the 31st March 2027 for the administration of the heads 2045, other taxes and duties on commodities and services 2501, special programs for rural development 2801, power 2810, new and renewable energy 4801, capital outlay on power projects 4810, capital outlay on new and renewable energy 6801, loans for power projects.
Motion moved. Now there is one cut motion against this grant, tabled by Shri Arden Miller Basayamoit MLA.
Sir, I rise to move that the total provision of rupees 1,122 crore 86 lakhs 97,000, grant number 11, major head 2801, power at page 110 to 128 of the budget be reduced to rupees 1, that is the whole amount of the grant, 1,122 crore 86 lakhs 97,000 do stand reduced to rupees 1, to discuss the style and functioning of the power department.
Motion moved. Now you may initiate discussion.
Sir, I will be very brief. I just want to get a clarification and also an assurance from the Honorable Minister in charge power. When it comes to the issue of the accumulation of bill to the customers. So this issue has been discussed in this house many times, but the problem remains the same, where the consumers who have not been served, these bills in time, and the delay comes from the department where they serve to the customer bills after 2-3 years of the service connection, and the bills sometimes reach to 60,000, 80,000, even a lakh. So when they approach the department always, they were forcefully made to pay, though they are given a chance to pay an installment. So I feel, why should the customer pay for the amount which, for no fault of theirs? So therefore, sir, I feel that the department should come out with a policy. Whenever the department fails to serve bills to the people in time, they should not even ask interest from the consumers. This over and above the facility of giving them the installments. And I want that this problem should be solved at once, sir, because it is continuing every time we are approached by poor people. And if they don't pay within the arrangement of, as per the arrangement of the department, their service connection will be cut off. So this is a serious issue, sir, especially for those poor people who get service connection, electricity connection under the scheme, BPL scheme. So how do we expect that these people will be able to pay at once or even installments when their income is not strong enough, sir. So this is my first concern, sir, my first submission. And another submission, sir, that I would like to make is about the delay on the department to pay pension to the pensioners, and also sometimes when they deal with that come retirement gratuity. So may I request the Honorable Minister to ensure that no delay should take place, because it affects the pensioners, especially at their old age, sir. So with these few words, sir, I...
Nakaliang uba polling do u MLA na West Geelong ulaong bagatanat company boarding kasway hadu kata nakajingbam biang karu company bat kajing sya tu boarding na lor kiway pat.
My main concern in participating in this cut motion before this House approves this humongous amount of more than 1,000 crores, I'm deeply concerned over the fact that the department, the power department, is suffering from various ailments. There is chronic mismanagement, there is alleged power theft, apparent collusion between certain industrial consumers and officials of the department, especially in the Bernihat industrial belt, which are directly harming the financial and technical health of Meghalaya's power sector and also burdening honest consumers. So the situation at the Bernihat Rajapala GIS substation, the continuing technical dying condition of critical assets, the persistent non-payment of massive industrial power bills, and the glaring absence of transparent enforcement and accountability suggest systemic failure rather than isolated lapses. So let me point out that there are repeated instances of suspected under-metering, bypassing of metering CT/PT circuits, abnormal loss patterns for feeders catering to industries in Bernihat. So it is a massive leakage of revenue that is being caused to the state, a systemic bleeding of the department. There are large sudden drops in recorded demand and energy, despite no corresponding fall in industrial production. Sir, repeated tripping, low reliability, and life-expired equipment being used at the Rajapala GIS station, with several protection switching elements operating in a dangerously compromised state.
Kiwe kidkot kibe shim banta ki kentop yo Dr. Celestine Lingdo u MLA na Umsning, Kamyani D. Shira ka MLA na Ampati, Uba Charles Pingrope MLA na Nongthamai, Rupa M. Marak MLA na Dadangre, Dr. Mizanur Kazi MLA na Rajabala, Dr. Mukul Sangma MLA na Songsak, Badnoyelam Kalyang Persya na Lor Uba, Kamingwan Ambon MLA na Ralyang, Haswa Boba Medba Lingdo u Menteri Berikmi Yakatanat un Ai ka Jubab.
When it comes to power, I would like to know the SOP or the procedure of getting electrification to new habitations. Suppose a village with 200 households have a new dong or a new habitation, which we need to extend the poles. I write to the EE in charge of the area, along with the Rambachnong, they go and submit. They give very vague reply. They say, wait, we will get back to you. After 2-3 months, when the villagers or the headman go back, then they'll ask them why you have not called back. Then they will say, we have submitted your request to the higher office. They never specify which higher office. So again, they will come back to an MLA or to me, MLA, to find solution. So when I call the SE, they will say that we don't have funds right now. So I would like to know what is the procedure to get an extension from an old habitation, to a new habitation. That is one. Number two, when we get electricity bill, they write the pay by date. So they have specified you have to pay up to so and so date. If you miss it by 1 week also, there is a penalty. Mr. Chairman, sir, is it justified to take penalty for a period that they miss for 1 week, whereas the department, they are supposed to serve every month, but they serve once in every 3 months or 4 months. So I ask this because we need to improve the efficiency from the department side also, so that the people were not affected. Delayed billing, yes, I also support the mover of the cut motion. In every nook and corner of our constituency, there is always a delay. I don't know, some permanent solution has to be there. But for today, I would like to know how to proceed to get poles or extension of electricity to new habitations.
Since the honorable members have spoken in detail about the billing system, about the people, for the people that they're facing, and the BPL families, as well as the industries, I think I would not like to dwell on that, but only support my submission that definitely some kind of change in the system of functioning or serving the bills, definitely the department has to look into this very important matter. Sir, the other submission that I'd like to make is regarding the renewable energy, sir. I think when we are always talking about clean energy, when we're talking about renewable energy, it is always about solar power. However, sir, I think in my experience, I have faced that with solar, the batteries are not sustainable. And if the capacity of the battery is low, then the capacity of electricity which can be generated by the solar energy is very limited, sir. And our state, being a very, very cloudy state, again during the monsoon seasons, I think it is a cause of concern, because once it gets cloudy, we do not get the solar energy. So this is one point. So therefore, sir, I'd like to know whether the department is exploring some other form of renewable energy as well, like, for example, wind energy or any other form. Another submission, sir, that I'd like to make is regarding the progress of the projects taken up under the externally aided projects which are funded by the Asian Development Bank, the ADB. So I'd like to know the progress of the projects that have been taken up.
And I will dwell only on two specific points, which I have been talking about a number of occasions in the past sessions also, even during the last House. Regarding billings and all, that has already been said. But there is an issue which still stands to be resolved, and that is the time taken for providing the estimates whenever there is a demand for electric supply, which includes a transformer in the residence or the business compound of the applicant. So, power is progress. The Honorable Chief Minister has said that to reach a certain goal, the basic infrastructure we require is power and roads, and that's the main. But to get a power supply connection, sometimes it takes longer to get the power supply connection with the transformer than it takes to construct the building. Now that, I somehow feel, is not justifiable. If a file can move from 26 days to 2.6 days in the Secretariat, I would request, through you, sir, that the Honourable Minister should also look into this and ensure that when an application is put in, whether it's domestic or commercial or large scale, it should be at the spur of the moment. It should not take a very, very long time to submit a basic estimate where all the BOQs, where all the prices are already there with the department. This question I have raised earlier, but I have not seen the answer on the ground. The problem is still the same. Although we must appreciate, in other aspects, the department has done well. There's no power shortages now, no power load shedding. Agree. But these things also should move hand in hand. Because the faster we work, the more money is generated, and that's how progress is made.
I'd like to draw the kind attention of the Honorable Minister in charge power on this issue. And recently there has been a public outcry on the hiking of the power tariff in Daringri Civil Subdivision and in Raksamgiri Civil Subdivision. People has been complaining that it has been hiked to manifold, like triple. When FEDCO was taking over the distribution of the power in Daringri and Raksamgiri Civil Subdivision, the people, they used to get only 200, something like that, 200 and 300 per household, the bill. But these days, whoever was getting the rupees 200 bill is now getting more than 600 in a month. And those who are getting 300, they are getting the bill for 900 rupees. So it's very alarming. After the handing over the distribution to Sai Computers, it has happened recently. And I have seen in the newspapers also, even the people from Mosindram, they have been complaining against this, against the Sai Computers for this very issue, hike in power tariff. So this is the concern which I would like to submit here. And faulty transformers are also there, sir. See, sometimes when the transformers get damaged, it takes more than 3 to 4 months in my constituency. And sometimes even the people in the villages, they are asked to pay. If you pay, then you will get the transformer very quickly, replaced quickly. It is being said like that. So the innocent villagers, they don't know, and they want the transformer to repair quickly. So they used to pay. Those people who are engaged in power repair, this transformer repairing and power distribution. So these are the issues. So I don't think that those villagers have to pay from their own pocket extra to get the transformers repaired. And even if it is get repaired, sometimes it is again damaged in 1 week's time, 2 weeks' time, like that. So this is the issue of faulty transformers which I would like to raise in this August House.
As I am aware that not all the connections do have the meters provided by the company, then how the billing is going to happen for those connections who does not have the meters installed by the company or by the department? I came to know that there is a formula, there is a specific formula on which those who do not have meters provided by the department, they rely on a formula, and through that formula, they come into the average monthly billing of that household. Now, as we all aware of the power situation, power condition in our state, particularly in the West Garavils district, where there are so many unscheduled power cuts. Say, for example, I think on an average, monthly, there will be at least 5, 6, 7, in total, in aggregates, there will be 5, 6, 7 days of power cuts, unscheduled. So when there are so much power cuts there, then how a formula can devise what is the actual power consumption in the household? This does not actually the actual consumption by the household. So I request the Honorable Minister in charge, through you, Mr. Chairman, sir, to kindly install the meters as early as possible so that appropriate billing can be ascertained, number one, and number two, the consumers are not overcharged. And secondly, Mr. Chairman, sir, as regard to billing, when there was a transition from FEDCO to SAI computers, there seemed to be a huge surge in the billing. In my opinion, and as far as my information goes in, when FEDCO used to prepare a bill, in fact, they used to come to my house also. Many of the time, they did not visit, they did not see the meter.
I would like to just draw some additional areas where we have certain felt need to draw the attention of the government in this regard. Now, one important part is to protect the interests of the consumers and to also ensure that whatever we have committed, we keep on committing uninterrupted power supply, uninterrupted. In fact, gone are those days when people would not complain, but these days, because everything, every aspect of life, our livelihood is connected with electricity, the power. In fact, lots of people have been, regular, repeated victim of not having this uninterrupted power supply. It happens. It continuously happens. When I'm in Songsak, almost in a day, so many times of interruption of power. Then there's some technicalities which need to be corrected. Just simple technicalities. In fact, it doesn't require much investment. I have also submitted this in my earlier submission in the cut motion for SD. So this is, again, true to almost all the areas, whether it is in Mendipattu, whether it is in Tura, whether it is in Ampati. One day I received one message from Ampati. The disruption of power, after every 3 minutes, after every 5 minutes, they send me to me in my mobile. So that is the kind of attention that people are trying to draw from us in as far as power sector is concerned. And last year, a very good friend of mine from Umsning area, I saw a number of his missed call. Then he wanted to know, how is it possible for MECL not to have this restoration of power supply to all these rural villages in Umsning area? It's not just 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. Huge. And then another observation and concern was that, but in spite of not having a regular supply and connection, there is no change in the billing system in as far as the amount of bill payable by the consumer is concerned. So there is some serious, I must say, a serious introspection which is required to be done in as far as the distribution aspect is concerned by the DISCOM. Because everything that we do, if the DISCOM fails, then we know how it affects everybody. Then another part is that in order to ensure that we have sufficient power for our otherwise domestic consumers, we have also the provision of the law which allows the open access for all the industries, captive users for industries who, in a sense of adequate power from the state's distribution, DISCOM, then they have this. So I think it will be appropriate for us to know how many industries have been provided with this open access, how many of them are availing.
The department opened one subdivision in my village. They call Changpung subdivision. There is no proper infrastructure. There is no building. They occupy only the quarter of the Chokidar in the 33 substation. If you have seen that type of quarter like a cow shed, so this power department, they earn a lot of revenue from this area. I think they generate more than 60 to 70 lakhs per month. But unfortunately, if you have seen the infrastructure out there, they have only one room. Assistant engineer also sitting in the same room. Even the JE to collect the revenue also, they sat in the same room. Even in the Joguli also in the same room. I request the department to kindly sanction one new office building in this particular subdivision. And number two, sir, I just want to give a suggestion with regard to this style and functioning of the power department. I have seen a lot of complaints from the local headman in my area regarding this roster of pools, this pool. Why I raise this? Because some of the pool, they already collapsed. Nobody can take care to replace this pool because they don't have sufficient manpower in that particular subdivision. I just want to give a suggestion to the department. As far my knowledge is concerned, I remember on the 2022, I inquired regarding the price of cement pool. The lifespan of cement pool is minimum 50 years, and the lifespan of the steel pool is maximum 12 years. And the price of this cement pool is only 3,500 to 4,000 each. But the steel pool is 6 meter. The cost price of steel pool is 12 to 13,000. What is the logic of the department to purchase this steel pool? I request the department to kindly look into this also. When we ask to replace the pool, the office asks the local headman or headman, there is no pool. Because the steel pool is very costly. Kindly purchase this cement pool because cement is available everywhere. In Ribhoy also, they all have a cement plant. In Jaintia also, they have cement plant. Cement is available everywhere. Kindly identify some of the contractors to make a factory to make this cement pool available in our state.
Yes.
And one more thing also, sir. I want to ask the department regarding the repairing of transformer. Suppose if one transformer is damaged in East Giant Hills like Ratashara, the distance from Ratashara to Sumer, 250 kilometers. The cost of repairing of that transformer is only maybe 1,000 rupees. The transportation cost from Ratashara to Sumer is minimum 15,000. That also you have to look into it. Kindly outsource this repairing workshop, maybe in Jaintia Hills one, maybe in West Khas Hills one. Then our people will get quickly to get the transformer as per the need. I don't want to take so much time that I think I need assurance from the Honorable Minister regarding that. With this forward, sir, once again,
Habajubab ubak medba uloong ban nadu balawan raya ke MEECL ringkat lightly kisnat rekam ke corporation kala persang ban ai ke jing syakri ke babha syakinong song snong ke jela.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, I would like to inform the honorable members of this August House that the management of power supply in the state of Meghalaya had been under control of erstwhile Meghalaya State Electricity Board with effect from 21st January 1975. On 31st March 2010, the government of Meghalaya notified the Meghalaya Power Sector Reforms Transfer Scheme 2010, thereby giving effect to the transfer of assets, properties, rights, liabilities, obligations, proceedings, and personnel of the erstwhile MESEB to namely Meghalaya Energy Corporation Limited, the holding company, Meghalaya Power Distribution Corporation Limited, MEPDCL, the distribution utility, Meghalaya Power Generation Corporation Limited, MEPGCL, the generation utility, and Meghalaya Power Transmission Corporation Limited, MEPTCL, the transmission utility. So these are the three subsidiary companies which comes under the holding company of the Meghalaya Energy Corporation Limited, which in any way they have to work together to ensure that the power matters are being taken care of. These have commenced commercial operation as independent entities from 1st April 2013 onwards. The MECL and its subsidiaries at present has a total strength of 2,300 regular employees and 1,825 contractual employees and 329 casual employees. Sir, why do I have to say this? The point here is that I wanted to inform the House what is the present status of the style and functioning of the power department, then and now. So when it comes to Meghalaya Power Generation Corporation Limited, the Meghalaya Power Generation Corporation Limited in the state owned generating company which supplies power to the Meghalaya Power Distribution Corporation Limited. The entire generation portfolio of Meghalaya Power Generation Corporation Limited is hydro, and hence MEPGCL is one of the few entities in India which is completely green in nature. What is the installed capacity in the generation portfolio of MEPGCL? I am to mention here that number one is the Umyam Stage 1 Sumer, a storage type of, with a capacity of 4 into 9, which commissioned in 1965. Umyam Stage 2, Sumer, Power Channel Pondage, 2 by 10 megawatt from 1970. Umyam Umtru Stage 3, Kerdam Kulai, Pondage, 2 by 30 megawatt, 1979. 4, Umyam Umtru Stage 4, Nongkelem, Pondage, 2 by 30, since 1992. Sonapani MHP, run of river, 1 into 1.5, since 2009. Mintru Leshka HE project, run of the river, 3 by 42, commenced on 2012 and 2013. New Umtru HE project, Pondage, 2 by 20, since 2017. Lakro MHP, run of the river, 1 by 1.5, since 2019. And Ganol SHP, run of the river, 3 by 7.5 megawatt, since 2023. Which means the total capacity that all these power projects have is 367.50 megawatt. Now, when it comes to the operational performance of the generating stations, the annual generation in million units, I would like to mention here, if I not say, each and every year in details project-wise, what I'll give in total for the financial year 1920, Umyam Stage 1, Umyam Stage 2, Umyam Stage 3, Umyam Stage 4, Sonapani MHP, Mintru Leshka, New Umtru, Lakro MHP, and Ganol SHP. For the financial year, they have the annual generation of 1,078.69 million units. Today, also they have 1,034.82 million units for the financial year 25. Since most of the stations are run-off river stations, situated on the rain-fed rivers, the generation in any year is largely dependent on the quality of monsoon in that particular year. Further, in terms of the plant availability factor, almost all the generating stations have shown an increasing trend. The plant availability factor achieved in past 3 years is tabulated as follows. I am to mention here that the plant availability factor for financial year 2024-25 for Umiam Stage 1 is 95.67%, Umiam Stage 2 at 99.73%, Umiam Stage 3 at 90.81%, Umiam Stage 4 at 87.33%, Sonapani at 98.87%, MLHP at 93.84%, NUHP at 99.59%, Lakro at 95.29%, Ganol SHP at 100%. So the weighted average availability of the station for financial year 24-25 has been 94%, which is the highest since incorporation of the corporation. Sir, ongoing projects. I am to mention here that renovation and modernization of Umiam Stage 3, which we call the RMU. The Umiam Umtru Stage 1 Sumer power stations and Umiam Umtru Stage 2 power station Sumer were commissioned in 1965 and 1970 respectively, as mentioned by me. The Stage 3 power station at Kendam Kulai and Stage 4 power station at Nongkilam were also commissioned, as I mentioned, in 79 and 92. In the recent past, 2 of the hydel power projects were renovated and modernized, and these are the Umiam Stage 1 power station and the Umiam Stage 2 power station. This is in the year 2003 and 2012, and the Umiam Stage 2 power station was also upgraded from 2 by 9 megawatt to 2 by 10 megawatt. Umiam Umtru Stage 3 hydroelectric power plant is a power station which was commissioned in 1979 and has been running for the last 45 years. Accordingly, renovation and modernization of Umiam Stage 3 was taken up. This scheme includes complete RMNU of Umiam Umtru Stage 3 power stations and consists of the following packages, which is the first package, the rehabilitation of electromechanical equipments, and the package 2 of the rehabilitation of hydromechanical and civil facilities. As a result of this project, the existing capacity of the Umiam Stage 3, which is 2 by 30 megawatt, is expected to increase to 2 by 33 megawatt. That is the augmentation of the capacity by 6 megawatt. Apart from the increase in the generating capacity, the RMNU will also result in increase in the life of the project, as the useful life has already been outlived. The cost of this project is 407.36 crore. This project, I would like to mention here, that is not coming from anywhere, but in details, 77.6% of the funding would be coming from JICA through the external aided projects, the JICA Official Development Assistance Loan to Government of India, which will be taken care by Government of India, and which comes to about 316 crore, which comprises of the works and balance 22.4% would be provided by the state government, as the Honorable Chief Minister has already highlighted in his budget speech. And this 22.4% as will be provided by the state government, which will mainly comprise of the taxes and duties as counterpart funding. The part of the project to be funded by the government of Meghalaya, therefore, comes out to be just 91 crores. The project is nearly completion and is expected to be completed by June 2026. MEPGCL is making all the efforts to commission the project before onset of the monsoon to avoid the station being out of generation in the peak generating season. Sir, the provision of rupees 80 crore in the budget is required towards the completion of this project. Now I come to the dam rehabilitation and improvement project, which we call in short DRIP. Meghalaya is one of the 18 states included under DRIP Phase 2 and Phase 3, with a financial outlay of rupees 441 crore allotted to MEPGCL, which includes rehabilitation of 4 dams under the DRIP 2 as an externally aided project, EAP, to be funded by the World Bank and Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. The objective of the DRIP 2 are as follows, I want to mention: to improve the safety and operational performance of selected existing dams and associated opportunities in a sustainable manner. Number 2 is to strengthen the dam safety institutional setup in participating states as well as the central level. The next one is to exploration of alternative incidental means at few of selected dams to generate the incidental revenue for sustainable operations and maintenance of dams. The dams in Meghalaya covered under the scheme are the following: Yam Stage 1 concrete dam and 2 earthen dikes, phase 2 and phase 3, which comes to the sanction cost of 215.45 crores. Yam Umtru Stage 3, phase 1 and phase 3, 73.10 crores. Yam Umtru Stage 4, phase 2 and phase 3 to 77.43 crores. Mintru Leshka Stage 1, phase 2 and phase 3, rupees 75.03. So under this DRIP, phase 2 and phase 3, the total sanction cost will be 441 crore. Now, how do we get this fund? The funding pattern of the project, which I mentioned above, will be like this. The project cost will be 441 crore. Loan from World Bank, 80% of the project cost, comes to 352.80 crores. And 90% of the loan will be passed on to the government of Meghalaya by the government of India as grant, 317.52 crores. Whereas 10% of the loan will be passed on to the government of Meghalaya by the government of India as loan, which comes to 35.28 crores. Counterpart funding by government of Meghalaya, 20% of the project cost is 88.20 crore.
Mr. Speaker, sir, before the honourable member, the honourable mover of the cut motion expresses his mind, I would like to only require one clarification in terms of the intent on the generation front. Because as I've said, I think there's a huge potentiality of investment in power sector, both in hydro and thermal, keeping in mind the legal mining that has been started now. And therefore, whether we can again revive whatever decision was taken by the NIPCO with the approval of the Ministry of Power, Government of India, to start the possibility of investing for establishing, at least even though it may not be 500 like earlier, but then smaller size of a thermal plant, coal-based thermal plant. And at the same time also to revive those areas where potential generation stations have been identified along the rivers, including Simsang, then Ganol, then Umyu, all those, Umngi, quite a number of them. Besides Kansi, of course, I think Kansi, the agreement has already been signed for, that is what information that was made available for us as far as the decision of the government is concerned. So only this part, because it provides immense opportunity of various other associated collateral economic activities and employment opportunities. Besides, the kind of catalyst, rather the kind of amplification that it can have on various other interventions that is already being embarked upon by government, including potential attraction of investment on other sectors where power is very crucial.
Honourable Speaker, in fact, I have taken note of that point, though I missed out. But I am to mention here that the Kinsi Stage 1, 270 megawatt implementation agreement has been signed already, and the Umran Small Hydro 13.5 megawatt is also the implementation agreement signed, and the PPA signing is under progress. So now the Nong Umer Small Hydro also is the implementation agreement is signed for 24 megawatt and PPA signing is under process. Now, sir, when it comes to the thermal efforts, in fact, a proposal was received from private developer of 300, where they have proposed around 300 megawatt and thermal power project. The proposal was discussed at length, in fact, with this developer, and several negotiations were reached. However, since the proposal as of now is on hold, as the developer, their whole intention was basically proposing that he will sell 150 megawatt power to Bangladesh. So the in-house feasibility has also been prepared for another one, 250 megawatt, and possibilities are being explored to develop it through a PPP mode. So, however, this is also under examination. Now, as I already mentioned also earlier, that when it comes to the intent of the hydro, the new phase 2, Leshka, which is 210, I have already mentioned in my speech also, my reply. The 210 megawatt will be a new, 3 new projects, which is already in the pipeline. The NEPCO also, they are not that keen as far as as of now, and wanted to, in fact, add more green energy in that portfolio, as NEPCO has become now, as you are aware, part of the NTPC. And so we are exploring so we are exploring all the possibility. And in fact, with NEPCO, we are trying to explore now the pump storage project. And let's see, we are in the stage of initiating the process. So hope all those have been taken into consideration.
Okay. Bob Paulindo, you want to speak?
Sir, I have brought forward a well-researched submission advocating for a multidisciplinary task force to go into what I have found out to be irregularities, which is a flim-flam, financial flim-flam in the Bernihat industrial estate. So whether the government, the minister in charge or the leader of the house can assure us, and me in particular, that this task force will be constituted in order to unearth the truth and leave no iota of doubt as to the various allegations that I have laid before this house.
Sir, I think I've already clarified as far as the industrial area point which was raised by the Honourable Member, Bapol. And I have also mentioned there about the double metering installed. One is at the premises of those industries, and one is outside the premises of the industries. So we're checking both. We monitor both. The meter reading in the premises and the meter reading outside the premises should be the same. That is the first step that we have taken. Until now, we have not found any theft cases so far as that is concerned. But however, the distribution, MEPDCL and the department as a whole will leave no stone. We will not spare anyone. Whatever we consume, a poor consumer of just 1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatts, with just some units, 100, 500 units, we are asking from them that they have to pay exactly whatever they have consumed. How can we just let them go? So I think the corporation is very serious and they're taking all steps. Perhaps the task force, if needed, we will look into that. As I have said, I have taken note all the points mentioned by all the honorable members. It is very, very constructive, I should say. It's very, very constructive. I also noted it with a constructive mind to see that those points can be adopted for the welfare of the corporation and the people at large. And as far as the industrial areas is concerned, which the honorable member have keep on stressing again and again, I would like to stress again and again from my side that we will monitor it very closely as far as their consumptions and their bills is concerned.
Sir,
May I know the mind of them?
sir, will I, just one point, sir. Will I therefore take it as implied that the minister will constitute this task force as I've
You have
built a very
only
strong case?
participated in the cut motion. I don't think I can give you so many.
So just an assurance, sir.
Clarifications. This is.
So I think leader of the house can take a call on this, sir.
Sir, I can say this, sir, right now. Here, all suggestions are needed, are noted down, sir. I have respected the suggestions of each and every member. I cannot assure each and everything whatever a member said. But the seriousness of the department and the corporation as a whole, I'll ensure that is being taken care of. And all consumers, A to B, A to Z, I should say, they will be dealt with the same kind of approach, sir.
So, may I know the mind of the mover, please?
So I would like to thank the Honorable Minister for a comprehensive reply and also for being forthcoming as expressed by the Honorable Minister during the course of his reply. So I withdraw the cut motion.
Thank you. Now, since the mover has withdrawn his cut motion, now let me put the question before the House. The question is that grant number 11 be passed. Those who are for the motion say aye. Those who are against say no. The ayes have it, the ayes have it. The motion is carried and grant number 11 is passed.
Habatin, page bahagi kishap, kashap plus F.
Ka plus F?
Hakabam bangibam dunaki eki bataye kamet. Namar kata habathiru atau kau kamlu ka umpnyang kadut pet ya ka sharp plus F ha ka jingsom. Yaki nutrient kum ki vitamin bat ka iron la icon diat bat ka bathau bha kam kata ka dur jingki marbam ka jing mat lani ka rukom shed yaki. Balehi banai kita. Kadon ka we ka jing mentoy ba kongsan. Ka kot ka kia. Ka nutrition ba khambha ka jing im ba khambha pendon kam daki marba medon ka sharp plus F menta kasni.
Lawan Ra Shafi Lingba ko office jong Commissionerate of Food Safety Meghalaya.